here's my first bao. Does it look like it's going to run away? Spoiler. Hey guys, it's Jica from Pepper and welcome to another episode of Food Hacks Not by Pepper. So today we're making dumplings, and we're making dumplings inspired by the short animated movie Bao. We got this recipe because Disney, or I think Pixar, one of their YouTube channels has a series called Cooking with Pixar. So they basically prepare different recipes from the different movies that they have. They came out with their bao recipe, and it wasn't really, they have a video and it shows that this is a really cute little dumpling that teaches you how to do it, but there are no ingredients in that video. But we found a recipe from foodandwine.com, and it's actually the recipe that director Shi, who created the animated movie Bao, and it's her approximate recipe of her mom's recipe, which inspired her to make the actual short. There's 3 parts of this recipe. First, making the dough, then making the filling, and then filling it up. So, let's start. First is making the dough. It's very straightforward. All you need is flour, yeast, and water. So there's 4 cups of flour, 3/4 teaspoon of instant dry yeast. You can use active dry yeast, but you'll have to bloom it in warm water. And then I have 500 ml of water. So I'm actually using lukewarm water. So you mix it until a rough dough forms. Here it is in rough dough form. So my dough is almost smooth. If you want to learn how to knead, you can check out Kimmy's Florida Mentals series. One of the first few episodes, she teaches you how to knead. So now my dough is smooth and kneaded. And you're just gonna let this dough rest, and so you let it rise for 2 hours or until it's doubled in size. So while we wait for our dough to rise, we can start making our filling. So first step actually is having the ground pork that you have and then cooking half of it on the stove. So let's go. So I'm heating some oil in this pan. I'm gonna put half of the ground pork that I have. So at this point, the bottom of my pork is brown and crispy. I'm just gonna... When you're done hurting yourself with oil splatters, you can just start mixing everything in this bowl. So I have the rest of the uncooked pork. Then now I'm gonna mix the cooked pork. This is minced Chinese cabbage or pet chai, minced carrots. We have green onions, 2 to 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder, a teaspoon of oyster sauce. Okay. A teaspoon of olive oil. I think this is 2 or 3 teaspoons of cooking wine. If you don't have cooking wine, you can use mirin. I think they don't say sesame oil in the ingredients list, but it's in the method. So I'm gonna I put like a teaspoon. I'm gonna give it a little mix now. So mix it all together when you know you got the best of both. Oh, before I forget, salt and pepper. So I'm just gonna put like a generous amount of salt. I think I'm trying to compensate by the fact that there's no soy sauce, which I find a little bit odd. If you want to put soy sauce, put soy sauce. But I am following this recipe. I was really scared at the start because I thought it would look dry because of all of the vegetables. It doesn't look like it's gonna fall apart. Like I can roll it into a ball into my hand and it's gonna stay a ball. So I'm gonna set this aside and start and wait. Voila. So after 2 hours, when your dough has risen, you're gonna turn it out onto a floured surface. The dough is still a little bit sticky. From experience, I've made baos before, and the stickier the bao, the easier it is to seal later on. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll it out into a long thin rope. And the way that they do it is using the windmill technique. So you sort of punch a hole through, make a hole through the middle of your dough like this, and then you turn it until you get this long thing. And then you just cut it, and then it becomes this long piece of dough. At this point, you just cut them into 1/2-inch pieces. So I have a ruler again. It's about the size of my thumb, like this. So I'm gonna cut pieces that thick. Now I'm gonna roll them out into my dumpling wrappers. So roll them out into a circle. And I have this huge rolling pin, but what's best if you have those tiny ones, like tiny wood ones, you don't necessarily want to roll them out evenly. You want to keep the center of the dough a little bit thicker than the outside. Here I have my dumpling. Then I'm just gonna fill it like it says on the recipe, like 1/2 teaspoon. And then you start to pinch it. Here's my first bao. So I'm just going to set this aside. I'll finish shaping the rest. I have to say that this dough recipe isn't a very good one. It's so hard to roll out. I can't even fold it properly because it keeps sticking to my hand. Like, there's a good kind of sticky and there's just an annoying kind of sticky. Plus, I'm already on my last dumpling and I still have a bunch of the filling left. If you don't want to do the pleats, you can just roll it like a shop out, or you can even just pinch it. What's important is that it's sealed through. Okay, I already have my steamer, and in the recipe it says that you line it with cabbage leaves. So that's what I've done, and it's gonna steam for 15 minutes, and then you turn off the heat and then let it rest for 5 more minutes, and then you're done. So now we have our bao. Confession, I've already eaten a few, but for your sake, I'm gonna try one on camera. I wish I put more. Don't just have a teaspoon. If I'm gonna say it in relation to how I thought this recipe experience would be for me, I'm gonna say maybe a 60% accuracy. I'm gonna cut like 40 off because of how hard the dough was to manipulate and because it wasn't as easy as shown in the movie. I can't really say that this recipe is bad. I'm just gonna say that maybe the proportions were wrong. The recipe isn't really exact. So maybe there are a few things that were off that made the dough difficult to work with. But anyway, I'd make these just for the filling alone. Try it at home, like, follow, subscribe, tell us what else you want to see, and watch me take care of these baos until they grow up and run away from me. Bye!